What's up, marketplaces and pretty faces? The start of something new. Hey everybody, my name is Jon and welcome to ADITW, A Day in the Word, the internet's favorite Bible study. As many of you probably figured out from the thumbnail, you're so smart. Today we begin a 12-week study of the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes. Before we get into our reading today, it's important that we get a little background on this book. Ecclesiastes is part of the wisdom literature of the Bible, along with books like Psalms, Proverbs, and so on. Now, the author or authorship of this book can be a little bit confusing. The simplest answer that you'll find out there from the majority of people is they believe that this book was written by King Solomon, the son of David. And this is most likely true. However, the text does not specifically state which descendant of David is addressing us here. Also, it's important to note that the teacher referenced in the text is not necessarily the same person as the author. It certainly could be, but whether it is or not, this is the author giving voice to the main character of the book, the teacher. The author has basically created this character through which he can say what he wants to say. What does the author want to say? Well, I'm glad you asked. Essentially, what you will find in this book is a deconstruction of life's biggest questions. What is the best way to live? Does anything I do matter? What is the meaning or purpose of life here on earth? You know, pretty petty stuff. Those questions that you ask when you're up late at night and you're tripping on the Holy Spirit. I was gonna say the Holy Spirit. Okay, now that all that is taken care of, let's get into our first reading. Please read for me Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 1 through 11. So the writer, author, teacher? So this chapter starts with a poem about the march of time. It expresses this tension, this struggle that I'm sure we all feel. How no matter what we do, whether we work hard or whether we're lazy, whether we're rich or poor, whether we're famous or unknown, no matter what we do, the clock keeps ticking. And eventually, someday, we will be gone from this world, but the world will keep on turning. And I don't know about you, but this was a surprise to me, because I'm like the center of the universe. And to begin this poem, the teacher uses a word that we're gonna hear a lot in this book. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. And this word, translated as meaningless, is used nearly 40 times by the teacher. And so then if we are to properly understand this book, it's probably important that we understand what exactly the teacher means by meaningless. The Hebrew word used here for meaningless is actually the word hevel, which doesn't really mean meaningless at all, but rather vapor or smoke. This Hebrew phrase expresses the idea that life is both temporary and difficult to grasp, much like smoke from a fire or fog in the morning. So then, meaningless in this book doesn't necessarily translate to without meaning, but rather, hevel expresses this idea that life is impossible to control. It's temporary, it's fleeting, it's difficult to categorize, and therefore insufficient to make us happy and full. Now, this is important to remember, especially as a Christian. Hevel is this binary reminder that both with God and without God, one day all of our earthly accomplishments and resources will fade away like smoke. Your good grades, all your friendships, that perfect job, smoke. Whether we believe in God or not, our physical life on this earth will never be anything more than vapor, difficult to grasp and insufficient to fulfill us. And that's why in Jesus, God gave us something real, something solid, a foundation to grab onto. You see, when Jesus came to this earth, God was no longer vapor and smoke, difficult to grasp. But when Jesus came to this earth, the Word became flesh. And in the midst of a life that is temporary and fleeting, Jesus invites us into a new life that is lasting and eternal. The teacher here is seeking to tear down our esteem and expectation for the things of this world, and instead to point us to the truth that true fulfillment can only be found in God. And trust me, he's going to continue to do it over and over again for many chapters to come. See you next week. Hello friends, thank you so much for watching this episode of ADITW. I am so excited to hop into this study of Ecclesiastes and begin to ask these big questions that all of us, whether we're believers or not, are probably wrestling with right now. And so I'm excited that you have decided to join us on this journey. Before you go, I wanted to let you know once again, my show is coming to Tampa. That guy from that video, it's going to be a night of poetry, storytelling, hopefully a few laughs and lessons along the way. I'll also have some merchandise. Sweet Bear's going to be down there with me. It's going to be a fantastic day. So if you would go to the description or the comments down below, you can get your tickets today. I would love to see you there. Shake your hand, take a selfie, hear your story, all of the things. I hope you can make it to that guy from that video April 12th in Tampa, Florida. That is all I have for you right now. I will see you all again right here next week on ADITW. I love you all. Keep being awesome.